A revocable or revocable trust is an important tool to use when you're planning on what happens to your estate when you pass away. But knowing what they can do and, more importantly, can't do can be very confusing. So joining us now to break this down and talk about some of the myths surrounding them is legal expert and attorney Danielle Mayoras. Welcome back.
Thank you, Rochelle.
We were just having a good little laugh at how many people pronounce this a bit differently, but revocable or revocable, whatever you want to call it, why should people look into getting one?
There's a lot of advantages. It's really the basic building block of estate planning. So when you use it properly, you can avoid probate court, which is a big deal because that's public and time-consuming, and it also is more prone to family fighting. So this is kind of the go-to for many of us estate planning attorneys.
So does having one automatically stop your assets from going to probate court?
No,
okay.
And I'm really glad you asked that. That is a big myth. So
okay.
many people go to the attorney's office, they sign their paperwork, they leave, they think, okay, I'm all set. They put it in a closet or a fireproof box. But the reality is the way a trust works, you have to go beyond signing it and actually transfer your assets into the trust. And that's a process called funding, which is critical if you want to avoid probate court.
Okay, let's continue the little truth or myth thing we've had going on. Does it protect you and your family from creditors?
I wish it did,
okay.
But when we're talking about revocable trusts, it's under your Social Security number, which makes filing taxes easier. But just like a creditor could go after you personally, any assets you have in the trust, if it's revocable, they can go after that money. Now, there is another type of trust called irrevocable, which is not changeable, and that has more hoops people have to jump through. You can't have control over it, and there's some other things. Now, that may be a way to avoid creditors, but for most people, all the advantages you want, you can get through the traditional revocable trust.
Okay, I know some people kind of hesitate because it feels like such a big commitment, like it's set in stone, you're putting it in writing. Is that the case with one of these, or can it be changed later?
The good news is it can be changed,
okay.
And you should want to change it down the road. It's called a revocable living trust. So it's like a living, breathing document, if you want to think of it that way. And so as your family changes, dynamics change, your decisions change, your kids get older, you're going to want to revise the document. And the good news is, as long as you're mentally competent, you can do that.
So you're not losing control over your assets?
Not at all. When you create these type of trusts, you're in complete control. So you're not only the creator, you can be the trustee, which means you manage the money in the trust, and you're also the beneficiary. So you stay in control 110%.
Do you wish people taught this more and learned about this more? I mean, I feel like aside from my weekly sessions with Danielle, it just isn't something that's widely known or common knowledge.
It really is important. That's why I'm so passionate about doing this and you know, speaking with you about these topics. So many people think, okay, I do a will, and a will's the document to pass on assets to my loved ones. And that is one way, but it goes through the court system. So most of us don't want to go through that court system, and a trust is a great way to avoid it, and you don't have to be rich to do it. There's so many advantages. It's not based on how much money you have.
Perfect. Danielle Mayoras, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rochelle.
Appreciate it.